The diagram of a hypothesis test. Depending on how we word the alternative hypothesis, the diagram for the test changes. If the alternative hypothesis uses the words less than, okay, if the alternative hypothesis says less than, then our hypothesis test is on the left, meaning that the left tail is shaded, and alpha represents that 1% or 5% in the extreme left tail. The p-value that we get out of looking at our sample data can be either smaller than alpha, p can be smaller than alpha, or p can be greater than alpha. If p is smaller than alpha, then we'll be able to reject the null hypothesis. Notice that if p is smaller than alpha, the sample mean or sample proportion falls right here, which falls within this range to reject the null hypothesis. If p-value is greater than alpha, the sample mean or the sample proportion is going to be falling right here, which falls in our fail to reject range. So we want a p-value that's smaller than alpha, because that would enable us to reject the null hypothesis. That's what we want to happen. If we use the words greater than in our alternative hypothesis, the test is on the right-hand side, the shaded area is in the extreme right tail, and alpha is shaded in either 1% or 5% in the extreme right tail. The p-value that we get out of the sample analysis is either going to be smaller than alpha. The p-value is going to be the area going to positive infinity in this case. It's either going to be smaller than alpha, in which case the sample mean falls here, or sample proportion falls here, which is in our reject HO region. Or if the p-value is larger than alpha, our sample mean falls here, which is in our fail to reject region. So again, ideally, what we really want is a p-value that's smaller than alpha. So tests on the left, tests on the right are going to be seen in this class. We're not going to see tests on both sides, but you will see them in the textbook. Those are the non-directional alternative hypotheses. Coming soon, we're going to go through an entire hypothesis test. So step by step, we'll have several steps and then we'll come to a conclusion. We completed the first of the steps. We set up the null and alternative hypotheses. We've also laid the foundation for the hypothesis testing procedure. Essentially, we need to compare a p-value to a significance level, which is the alpha. Ideally, we look for small p-values to disprove the null hypothesis. We're going to finish a complete hypothesis test in the next lecture. Okay, so also coming up, we have to take a look at what a type 1 error or a type 2 error means for a particular hypothesis test. Because it is a tough concept understanding type 1 errors and type 2 errors. So the next lecture we're going to simply go through the hypothesis test. Then the following lecture we'll take a look at the types of errors that are possible. Okay, so there is no webwork homework on this lecture, but you'll see webwork homeworks for the upcoming lectures. If you have any questions, you can watch the videos again, go to the textbook, try the practice problems, the practice homework problems and the practice test problems, and of course you can email me and post questions in the discussion forum. Okay, good luck. I'll see you at the next lecture.